Life, and she's going to show you how to supercharge your life through a plant-based diet. So, for those of you who are new, please feel free to go to our Facebook page and check out all the videos. Excellent content so far, and we're going to continue along that path today as Georgia gives us some additional information to help you to know what kind of foods to get to have a better life. Supercharge your health. Whether you want to get your kids to eat more veggies or you're ready to overcome personal health challenges, without procedures and downtime, we will teach you fun and delicious ways to make the transition. So I'd like to welcome Georgia Wright. Let her come on and do her presentation, and then we'll leave about 10 minutes after for any Q&As for you guys to ask questions. Georgia?
Hello, everyone. My name is Georgia Wright, and I was on, I think it was last week or the week before? I would say, let me get my video going. Should I start my video, Kashab?
Yeah, start your video, and then you could always do your PowerPoint as you go.
So hello, everyone. For those who saw me on a previous Zoom call, I'm also in the financial industry, but I have to tell you that my true passion is health and wellness. Health is wealth, and health is the new currency. I told a couple of colleagues recently that there are two people who are going to get through this, whatever the situation is, whether it's, the cancers, the high blood pressure diagnoses, diabetes, or this COVID-19 pandemic. It's the people who are healthy and those who are wealthy. As a matter of fact, the healthy are also going to fare better than the wealthy. We take our health for granted. I did. And there are times when I do. I take chances and I eat certain things or I do certain things that I'm not supposed to do, that I know better. But today I'm going to share with you just some basics. And I'm talking to you today as if we are interacting with each other. So I'm going to ask a lot of questions, but they're going to be rhetorical questions, of course. I have good news for you today, and I have bad news. I'm going to give you the good news first. I would ask you what do you want first, but I'm going to give you the good news first. As I see it, the good news is we're all going to get out of this. We're going to get out of it alive. You're going to get out of it alive with stories to tell. Your children will get out of it alive with stories to tell, and your family. I believe that this will pass. I don't believe it's going to be as devastating as they anticipated, but I do know that there will be some repercussions. Now, here's what's going to happen. Here's the bad news. We're going to get out of it. That's the good news. The bad news is some of us are not going to get out of it healthier. You're going to get out of it less healthier. And I'll tell you why I say this. During this time, we should be building up our immune system. We should do that every day, not just for this particular, what they call pandemic, right? We should do this every day. And that is to build up our immune system, take our minerals and our vitamins, and eat nutritious whole grain meals, right? When I go to the supermarket, what I'm seeing the frozen foods. First, I'll tell you that my diet is plant-based. I don't eat meat, I don't eat dairy, I don't eat refined sugar, refined carbs. But what I will tell you is this. I make sure that whatever it is that I'm doing, I'm thinking about my body as I'm eating it. But when I go to the supermarket, what I'm just seeing these grocery carts filled with processed foods, high in salt, high in sugar, high in fat, right? What that's going to do is it's going to affect your immune system. It's going to lower some of us already have compromised immune system, weakened immune system. I saw a gentleman, and as I've seen also a lady, with a mask on, right? Because they're thinking, oh, protection. However, when I look in their grocery cart, I see soda, the worst kind, Coca-Cola, um, Sunkist. And I'm saying, you're going to get through the coronavirus, but what you're not going to get away from is diabetes, high blood pressure, and heart disease. I don't have the numbers, but you can look that up. The World Health Organization have these numbers, and that is the amount of the millions of people in America who are diagnosed with high blood pressure. Let's just call them metabolic diseases. The number of people in America, only 18% of the US population is metabolically healthy. I'll repeat that, only 18%. That means 82% of the US population is not metabolically healthy. So when the CDC and the World Health Organization say that people with compromised immune system is more susceptible to this virus, they're talking about the person who takes medication for high blood pressure. And when I say diabetes, I'm talking about type 2, which is, weight, you can lose weight and get off whatever medication you're taking for that. That's like the metformin medication the pill that you ingest every day, as opposed to insulin. Most of us, not me, but most people who have diabetes, it can be cured with nutrition, right? So that's the number one thing. But what I'm seeing now with our diets, the standard American diet, it's filled with sugar, fat, and salt. It's actually affecting your health more, because the foods that you're eating, it's not allowing you to be healthy. So I don't want to belabor the point of metabolic diseases, but we have, let me count here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 glands in our body. And I'm going to touch on a little bit of each gland. But what I'm going to ask you to do is look at your last blood results, your lab results. The next time you go to the doctor, as I always advise people to do, whatever you do, the panels that you do, whether it's the lipids, for cholesterol, or whether you're checking for, your iron level, the platelets, hemoglobin, get a grasp of what those numbers are and where you should fall. Because those numbers mean something. See, I don't want to lecture, but I will say this. What we do in America, we depend on the doctors to take care of us. And as we've seen over the past month, the doctors cannot care for us. That is not their job. Like, our job is to care for us, right? How do we care for us? Let's start with nutrition. And I'm going to make it so basic. I'm not going to talk about herbs that you could take, because see, we have a mentality of cure as opposed to prevention. So this call today, we're going to talk more about preventative measures. How do we prevent, these diseases? This is not about what's happening now, but how do we keep our bodies healthy? I'll share my story with you. 1999, I got diagnosed with a blood and liver disorder. I was told by the doctor and specialists that I will have to live with this for the rest of my life. There's no cure for it. There's no medication for it. There's nothing I can do. So I thought, wow, that sounds like a death sentence. Like, I got to live with this for the rest of my life. So I began to do some research. And what it brought me to were different types of herbs. Milk thistle was the number one herb that I saw. I saw gotu kola, elderberry. There were different herbs and foods that stood out. They were blood cleansing herbs. They cleanse the liver. They clean the blood. Excuse me for a minute. What's up, sweetheart? Go and speak to Aaron. No, I'm sorry. Excuse me. So these herbs are great for the body, because what they do is they help you to clean out the toxins that are in your body. So I began to do that. I also saw that the foods that I were eating, they were high in carbohydrates. I'm from Jamaica, and we eat a lot of hard-dough bread, starchy foods, yams, potatoes, bananas, We eat a lot of fruits and vegetables too, but a lot of the things that I was eating were very high in carbohydrates. And so I changed the way I was eating foods. Meat, stop eating as much fatty foods like pork and the fat part of the beef that I like, the steak with the little marble in the middle. I pretty much cut out red meat and I stuck to chicken and fish. That began my journey. Fast forward about 10 years later. So every year I would go in and I would get my results back, and they would tell me, "I'm sorry, you still have it." Until 2016. I'm like, why do I keep testing for this if they say this is what I have? 2016, I got my results back, negative. I almost lost my mind. I was like, wow. However, I was pre-diabetic, and I thought, okay, that's not good. But I went home. She wanted to start me on metformin, and I told her, give me 3 months. And she was so confident that she was going to start me. Went home, and I cut out certain foods from my diet again. Went back, my A1C went down. My children got diagnosed with different illnesses. One of them, asthma, the other one, a hearing loss. I removed dairy from their diet, no more hearing loss, no more asthma, and so on and so forth. My husband was diagnosed with pancreatic and liver cancer, terminally ill, stage 4, January of 2016. He was told he would live for 4 to 6 months. I'm not sure if any of you know about the diagnosis or the prognosis for liver disease, liver cancer, and pancreatic cancer. He had both. It's usually within a month or two, people are gone. He lived for 2 years and 3 months based on his nutritional choices from the day he found out about his diagnosis. So I'm sharing this with you because I saw how food healed my family, right? The hypothalamus gland, the pineal gland, the pituitary gland, the thyroid gland, the thymus gland, our pancreas, the adrenal gland. In female, our ovaries. In male, their testes, right? Those are glands in your body. Now, I'm not a doctor, so everything I say here, this is just for my own personal use. I just know enough to help my family and myself. But all of this information, the same way I found it, the same way we can all find it, which was on the internet. I go to reputable medical sites and extrapolate the information. How does the thyroid gland work? The thyroid the thyroid is a part of the endocrine system. Now you think of the endocrine system, also think of your pancreas and think of your liver. What I want to do is make a connection between the thyroid and other parts of your body. All of these glands are interconnected in some way. The pancreas helps the liver helps the pancreas. The liver has over 200 plus functions. Most people don't even realize that the liver has more than 3 functions, because all we hear is metabolizes fat, regulates your sugar, but over 200 plus functions. The liver's function, I like to tell people, like, I'm obsessed with the liver. And I'm touching on the liver. For some reason, I don't know why I'm drawn to this organ, because there are other things I want to talk about. But your liver, I know people who have a pacemaker in, so they don't have a heart. I know individuals who don't have kidneys, so they go to dialysis probably every 2 days. What I'm saying, for the most part, there are organs that you could live without, right? But the liver and the pancreas are 2 organs that are vital to our existence. But they're the 2 organs that are the most overlooked. And that's the strangest thing to me. The liver, I'm going to name just a few of the functions of the liver. The liver metabolizes fat, regulates your sugar, right? Remove toxins from the body, right? Toxins, let's talk about some toxins. The Febreze, the candles we burn, Clorox, Lysol, all these things, Purell, all these products that we have with chemicals, they go into our bodies. The lotions we use, the makeup, women, that we use, what we drink, the soap, the water, everything. The liver now, once these things come into our body, and by the way, the skin is the largest organ, right, in our bodies, on our bodies. And within 26 seconds of putting something on your skin, it's absorbed into your blood cells, right? People don't think about that. Suntan lotion, sunscreen. Think about anything that you could put on you, not even digest or ingest, but whatever you even apply to your skin. Men, aftershave, right? Aftershave balm, cologne, perfume, oils, the stuff you get from Bath and Body Works, Victoria's Secrets, all these nice smelling, beautiful things, right? These things go into our bloodstream. Now, the liver's job is to get that out. Now, think about if you have a toxic liver. There's so many things. When I talk about metabolic diseases, most of those diseases stem from an unhealthy liver. So let me say this again. Most of the diseases that we have, they come from a very unhealthy liver. So if you have high blood pressure, these are the metabolic diseases: high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, heart disease, right? Those are the four major diseases that people are suffering with. It's like not a big deal for someone to say they're taking high blood pressure medication. And they think the doctors tell them that you could stay on that for the rest of your life. And they believe the doctor because the medication is going to regulate your blood pressure, and great, that's it. We're in a society where we no longer want to take care of our bodies. We just want to pop a pill, drink our water, and get it down, right? Now, the way we eat can eliminate all these prescription medications that we take. So take, for example, let's talk a little bit about our immune system. How is our immune system regulated? Which gland controls our immune system? All right, so I'm going to share something with you. The thymus gland. We've heard a lot about the thyroid gland because, that sometimes it's hyperactive, you'll have either hypothyroidism or hyper. Hyper is when it's very active, overactive. So people who are like trying to gain weight, they can't gain weight, their thyroid is overactive, right? When it's underactive, you have someone says, I have hypothyroidism. It's, sluggish, man. I don't matter, it doesn't matter what I do, I can't seem to lose weight, right? The thymus gland is often overlooked because it's not really talked about, but it controls our immune system. So not just for what's going on now, I hope that after today, the thoughts that we're going to entertain and the ideas we're going to have is going to be, how do I stay healthy? How do I just stay healthy? Period. Forget all of what everybody's saying. Oh, you need to build up your immune system so you can fight this virus. How about we build up our immune system to just stay healthy, right? Because that's the objective, staying healthy, living long, healthy lives. Because the only people right now who are going to get out of this healthy and strong are the healthy people. If you're not healthy, yeah, you barely will make it out of this, but what about the next go around? Because there will be another go around. As a matter of fact, I don't understand why this virus is such a huge deal, because I believe fear is what's being created from this and forced onto people, because 60,000 people have died from the flu, the regular influenza. 60 for the flu year, 2019 to 2020, when I checked last month, 60,000 people died in the US, right? But nobody's talking about that. Nobody's talking about the 500,000 people who have had the flu from 2019 flu year to 2020, right? Everyone now, it's all about COVID-19. So how do we stay healthy for those colds and those flus and those other viruses? Because this is what this is really about. How do we stay healthy and strong and balance out other areas of our lives where it's not just about a virus, but high blood pressure, heart disease. Studies show that women, we are the #1 candidate for heart disease, right? What causes that? Yes, it could be stress, and it could be our diets, but we're going to shift the focus from diets. And how about lack of nutrition? We're not eating the foods that's going to regulate the thymus gland, right? So the thymus gland, it helps, it's really our immune system, right? With our thymus glands, it helps to, when our thymus gland is healthy, it helps to build our immune system. First of all, we have to start with a healthy lifestyle, because when we have an unhealthy lifestyle, it burdens down our immune system, whether it's the foods that we eat that are high in sugar. And I'm going to just read here a little blurb, right? All unhealthy lifestyle choices burden the immune system. Not a few, not some. All unhealthy lifestyle choices burden the immune system. So our focus today is going to be on the thymus gland, right? Because that's the crevice of it right there. While every person has different dietary needs, following certain basic nutritional guidelines can greatly increase the body's ability to avoid and combat immune challenges. It is generally wise to avoid or greatly minimize inflammation inducing, saturated, hydrogenated, and trans fats, right? Like beef, pork, lamb, duck. Avoid gluten, dairy, GMOs, caffeine, alcohol, MSG, dyes, and chemical additives, and especially sugar or simple carbohydrates. All sugars, all sugars impair the white blood cell function. If your white blood cell is impaired, that's how you fight diseases, right? And that starts within 30 minutes from consumption and continuing for 5 hours. So when you eat something that is high in any of these things that can affect your immune system, within 30 minutes, not 3 months, not 3 weeks, within 30 minutes of consuming these types of food and continuing for 30 minutes and continuing for 5 hours. Now, after 2 hours, sugar intake reduces the immune function by 50%. So after 2 hours, right? So within a half an hour, our bodies are affected, right? However, after 2 hours, sugar intake reduces the immune function by 50%. So every morning, right, you grab a cup of coffee on the way into the office because, some people, you got to get your Starbucks, right? It's, oh, girl, I have to have my coffee. I got to get my Frappuccino. I got to get my latte. Got to get my caramel macchiato. Got to get my frappe. Or you stop at McDonald's then, right? Or you stop at Dunkin' because it's cheaper. It's right in the middle. It's more affordable. And so we're not thinking about, as a financial advisor, all that money you're spending every day, but it's that fix, right? You got to get your caffeine and your sugar. And what we don't know, a lot of us don't know, a lot of these drinks are high in sugar, really, really high in sugar. And not even real sugar like, cane sugar, molasses, agave nectar, maple syrup, grade A, natural maple sugar or maple syrup. No, we're talking about high fructose corn syrup. Now, high fructose corn syrup is very cheap and it's very toxic to the liver. It's very cheap and it's very toxic to the liver because a lot of companies get it cheaper and they can make more and the profit margin is higher because it's really all about profit. It's not about bringing you healthy foods or snacks. When you drink this every day and we talk about the liver, you are actually poisoning your liver, right? So every morning you got to get your cup of coffee. Angelo, what is it? No, ma'am. No, I'm sorry. Excuse me. So every morning, you have to get your high fructose corn syrup. And when you get your high fructose corn syrup, you have to get your coffee. And when you get your coffee, you don't even know what it's doing to your body. So you get your little burst of sugar in the morning, zaps your immune system, but you don't know that. Then you get a bagel, carbohydrates, that also is it, or a donut, or a muffin. So that's how we start our day, right? A lot of us don't start our day with water. The human body needs at least a half a gallon of water every day, half your body weight in water. So if you weigh 200 pounds, you should be drinking 100 ounces of water every day. If you weigh 250, 125 ounces of water every day. If you weigh 150, 75 ounces of water you should be drinking every day. We're not flushing the toxins out of our system. Our bodies are overweight loaded with caffeine and sugar, right? So we do that in the morning. And then at lunchtime, we're having a sandwich or, and no offense, not everybody on here eats that way, but I'm just talking about the standard American diet and what the average American does, right? So in the afternoon, we're having, a salad maybe, or pasta, or whatever it is we're having. We're not thinking about what's in these foods, right? So we get to dinner, and some of us, when we get home like around 5, 6 o'clock. By the time we eat dinner, we're talking about 7, 8 o'clock. We don't have enough digestive enzymes in our bodies to digest the foods. So now we're putting more carbohydrates, fat, um, and salt and sugar in our bodies. Now, the reason why I'm saying all of this is because already your body is just at a deficit because nothing went in that said, I'm going to support my thymus gland or my hypothalamus gland or my thyroid gland or my pancreas or my liver. So then the question is, so what do I eat, Georgia? What do I eat in the mornings for breakfast? My suggestion always is have a cup of water, 10 ounces of water, 8 to 10 ounces of water, first thing in the morning when you get up. That's going to flush some of the toxins out of your body and it's going to get your body going for the day, right? Start with fruits or a fruit juice, cold press, something that you juice, not anything that you bought from the store, because at the store, the juices are filled with sugar. The smoothies are filled with sugar because what they do is they use puree, they add water to it. They don't squeeze your juices. So if you say, well, I stop at the supermarket, I stop at Whole Foods, but on average, when you go to the supermarket and you see Boathouse, that brand, or Adwala, Adwala, I believe, is owned by Coca-Cola, and the other one, Naked by Coca-Cola and Adwala by Pepsi. They own these brands and they have these smoothies. And when you look, it's like 47 grams of sugar for that bottle of green juice or antioxidant juice that you'll see there. So if we're talking about the thymus gland, let's say that's the gland that we're going to focus on. What are the foods that you're supposed to eat that's going to help your thymus glands? I know you've been hearing a lot about black elderberry, and you are correct, because that herb, what it does, it's anti-inflammatory, antiviral, anti-flu, antioxidant, and anti-cancer. I'm not recommending any of these things for you. I'm just telling you what health advisors have talked about. Oregano oil, right? Every morning, I don't have it here, but I was going to bring that. Every morning, I take a capsule with oregano oil. That is going to build up your immune system. Turmeric, that also will help you. Probiotics. Are you taking probiotics? What are probiotics? Good bacteria in our bodies. It's very important. They say a lot of diseases start in our gut. It is very important that your gut has a good balance of bacteria. There's good bacteria and there's bad bacteria. The good bacteria is actually going to help you and build up your immune system. So if you feel like, I'm consuming a lot of sugar, these are some of the supplements that you can take. That I'm not saying that's going to be the end all be all, but also too, it is suggested that if you eat food after certain hours, and I would say 6, 7 o'clock, and it's high in carbohydrates or fat or sugar, and you know that you don't have a lot of fruits and vegetables on your plate, digestive enzymes, this is also a very good one that I take. It was recommended to me, not this brand, but digestive enzymes was recommended to me by a naturopathic doctor. And the way he explained it to me, he said, what we eat affects our immune system, even if it's not bad food per se. If it's cooked food, he said, if it's not raw, it's cooked. If it's carbohydrates, meats, fats, he said it's very important that your body breaks down these foods. Now, when you don't have the digestive enzymes, enough digestive enzymes in your gut, and most people don't, when you eat certain foods and it's not digested, it just sits there in your gut, and then it starts seeping out into other areas of your body, and that's where he said it's called leaky gut. I don't have all the medical terminologies or explanations, but I'm going to just encourage everyone, anything that I've said today, and if you want to write it down, just write it down and look into it. So leaky gut, a lot of millions of people have leaky gut and other digestive problems like irritable bowels syndromes, IBS, Crohn's disease, CROHN' disease. So the digestive enzyme has probiotic, prebiotic, and a bunch of other enzymes, because what I didn't know years ago is that there's an enzyme for carbohydrates, there's an enzyme that should be in your stomach for fats, there's an enzyme that should be there for dairy, meat. Your body is a machine that has everything available for it. However, based on our diets, pollution, the water, the chemicals that we're using, our bodies are not functioning at 100% of its capacity. So we now have to help it. The reason why I'm really an advocate of minerals is because the soil, I'm sure you've heard this too, the soil is depleted. The soil is depleted because of the way we farm in America. We don't give it a period of rest. We don't farm different types of agriculture. We farm the same produce and repeatedly. And so the soil is depleted. It's not being nourished. And so when we eat an apple, so when they say an apple a day keeps the doctor away, an apple in 1950 will give us the proper nutrients that our bodies need. In 2020, in order to get the same nutrients, we would have to eat 26 apples today to get the nutrients of one apple in 1950. Yeah, it sounds crazy, but it's the truth. 1950, you can eat an apple and be like, I got my daily allowance of minerals for the day from this apple. However, you'd have to eat 26 apples in the year 2020 to get the same amount of nutrients from that apple. So what does that mean? We're going to sit down and eat 26 apples for breakfast? No, that's ridiculous. And then also, by the time you juice 26 apples, you're getting too much sugar in your system, and you're not even getting the pulp, because you also need the pulp for fiber. And so, yes, juicing does help. I do a lot of juicing to supplement my meals. However, you now have to find the different things that is going to help supplement your lifestyle. Let's start with the children. If your children are not getting whole grains and fruits and veggies throughout the day, and remember what I said, the soil is depleted. So unless you're doing organic, and how do you know it's organic? We don't have any proof. We don't even know. How do we know that it has all the nutrients that we need? We're not sure. My children take this liquid vitamins. I prefer liquid vitamins over pills and capsules. There's a medical examiner who wrote in a book that upon conducting and performing several autopsies, he found a lot of capsules and pills in people's bodies. Because think about it, when we take 2 pills, most of the time we don't even drink enough water to really get it down into our stomach, where their enzymes the acid in our stomachs can break it up and have it go to where it needs to go. Also, a lot of the capsules and tablets on the market, they have fillers in them. So you're not even getting the purest. Some of them are gelatin capsules. So they break down a little slower as opposed to vegetable capsules. Gelatin is just the gunk, the cartilage from the skin and the bones of animals. They boil it and boil it and boil it until it develops a certain thickness. And so that's what they use to make gummy bears and some of those chewy candies that you like, and the covering for a lot of the capsules. I went to the doctor, and one of the things that was recommended for me, because I have a plant-based diet, is that my B12 might be a little low, right? So I take a B12. All of these minerals and supplements that I'm showing you, they help your thymus glands because they build up your immune system. My vitamins that I take, I'm not endorsing any of these, but I'm just showing you. I take a liquid vitamin. If you go online, just look at the ratings. I go to Amazon and I'll see the different ratings for the minerals that I want, and then I'll take them. I wanted to talk about the thyroid glands, right? A lot of times, I touched on it before, a lot of times when people have an issue, it's either hyper or hypo. Most people, it's hypothyroidism. So their thyroid glands is not producing enough hormones, right? And allowing fats to break down easier. This is a piece of sea moss. I got this from Jamaica. And I'm showing you the sea moss because most people need iodine in their bodies, but the doctors will never say to you, you need iodine in your body. The only time you really are told what to do or what you should be doing, it's usually when you're diagnosed with something, because that is not the responsibility of our doctors to tell us what we should eat. So when someone says, if your doctor ain't telling you to eat more fruits and vegetables, change your doctor. Wrong, wrong. We're grown people, we're adults. The doctor should not be telling us the same way the doctor doesn't tell us to go eat at Chick-fil-A or go to Popeyes and get the chicken sandwich. The same way the doctor doesn't need to tell us to go to the grocery store and get the produce that are there, because we go to the grocery store every week and we see what's there, right? So we have to have a natural affinity towards those things because we recognize, okay, those things are going to help us. So how do you get iodine for your thyroids? You can use iodized salt, which I never recommend because the sodium content in table salt is very, very high. Other than iodized salt, there's not a whole lot of foods or anything on the market that you could get iodine out of. So sea vegetables like kelp, sea moss, bladderwrack, and a few others. You could just look them up and you'll see what those vegetables are, and you could get sea moss. You can get iodine, selenium. That's another mineral that you can get from sea vegetables. Choline. Those are things that are different thyroid needs, right? This is something that caught my attention because I know that we have a hypothalamus gland and I know that we have a pituitary gland. But when I read that, right, the thyroid is a part of our endocrine system, right? So when you think of endocrine system, also think about your pancreas and your liver, right? And your kidneys. The thyroid affect those glands, right? And organs. So the thyroid is a part of the endocrine system, which is made up of glands that produce, store, and release hormones into the bloodstream so the hormones can reach the body's cell. The thyroid gland uses iodine from the foods you eat to make two main hormones. For the sake of pronunciation, I'm just going to say the T3 hormone and the T4 hormone. You could look that up. It is important that the T3 and T4 levels are neither too high nor too low, right? Because remember, if it's too high, it's hyper. If it's too low, it's hypo, right? So the body has to be in a homeostasis state. Like it just has to be balanced. Everything is about balance. We can't be here, we can't be there, right? There are two glands in the brain, the hypothalamus gland and the pituitary gland. They communicate. The two glands in the brain, the hypothalamus glands and the pituitary gland, they communicate to maintain T3 and T4 balance. Now, like I said, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nutritionist, right? I didn't go to school for this, but I read because I want to know, how do I take care of myself and my family and share this information with my loved ones, right? What we don't understand is that these glands are all interconnected. So what we do for one, sometimes we're doing for the other. We're actually helping the others, right? What does the hypothalamus glands do? Because remember now, the hypothalamus and the pituitary, right? They work together and help the thyroid. So what does the hypothalamus gland do? It's a small but important area in the center of the brain, and it plays an important role in hormone production and helps to stimulate many important processes in the body, and is located in the brain between the pituitary gland and the thalamus gland, right? When the hypothalamus is not working properly, it could cause problems in the body that lead to a wider range of rare disorders. Listen to this. It acts as a connector between the endocrine and the nervous system. So you know how a lot of people are, a little anxious at times, moody, depressed. Our children are being diagnosed with ADD, ADHD, all these different illnesses. You know, they're saying depression is on the rise. People are very depressed, low energy. People aren't sleeping well, so they're prescribing these, you know, sleep aids, or you're getting these antidepressants that you can take. Right. Let me say this. I went to an event recently for my children, and they had a little breakout group for the parents. And you know, I'm a widow, and, you know, they were talking about different ways to grieve and cope. And the lady was saying, you know, don't be shy. You know, when you go to your doctor, if you need some antidepressant or something, I believe in medication because medication can help you. It's not a bad thing. I had to say to her, you know, like, no offense, but for me, I don't need antidepressant. There are foods that can help you with whatever it is you're going through. Try nutrition first. Her first go-to was antidepressant. Now, this has eased my anxiety, right? This is magnesium. This is the brand Calm. I prefer this brand without the flavoring. And I'm telling you why I'm mentioning this. A lot of us are magnesium deficient and zinc deficient and vitamin D deficient, and we don't even know it, right? Those are also minerals that build your immune system. See the connection? Immune system, nervous system, endocrine system, right? So the first go-to is usually a pill, but yet if we have these minerals, we can now start to heal our bodies. So this is what happens when your hypothalamus gland acts as the connector between the endocrine and nervous system, right? It plays a part in many essential functions of the body, such as, listen to that, body temperature, thirst, appetite and weight control, emotions, sleep cycles, sex drive, production of digestive juices, balancing bodily fluids. So remember again, digestive juices, right? We talked about that. So let me ask you a question. You think if you take some digestive enzymes that might help your hypothalamus glands and make you sleep better, give you a better sleep cycle, and help your sex drive and help your appetite and weight or your emotions, you think maybe this can... Now, I mentioned this, and I'm not trying to be sarcastic and facetious. What I'm saying to you is this. The foods that we eat, they're interconnected to all these different functions in our bodies, so that you might just be magnesium deficiency. That's why you can't sleep, or you feel restless, or you have a low sex drive, right? And you're not thinking that these are the things. Or you might, you know, sometimes you have someone say, oh, I'm cold. You know, I get chilly. My fingers are, my lower extremities are cold. My fingers and my feet are always cold. If your hypothalamus gland isn't working properly, you think maybe if you take these minerals that maybe those things will be addressed and you'll feel better. So everything doesn't necessarily mean that is a drug for everything and you just go out there and you just do these quick fixes. But what I want to say to you today before I go, all right, this is another thing, trace minerals, right? And this is humic fulvic acid. This has 92 minerals, 70 minerals in it. And it chelates the body, removes toxins from the body, and it also takes out lead, aluminum, mercury. Think about if you've ever had a filling. I know a lot of people from the islands, you know, back then when they got fillings, they were silver. Okay, so think about the mercury. Okay, you might not have them in now, but what about when they were taking them out? That stuff got into your bloodstream. Think about if maybe we need to get that stuff out of there. Inoculations from vaccines that we've gotten. Some of these vaccines, all of these vaccines have poison. Now, what I'm saying to you today is this. I can't sit here for 4 hours and give you everything about all the glands, but what I can tell you, look at your lab results, look at your health, and look at the things that you're going through, and do the research, do the work, and ask yourself, what do I need to add to my diet? And what do I need to take out of my diet to achieve optimal health? So that if and when this comes back around again, I'll be healthy, my family will be healthy, my loved ones will be healthy, and I'll stand a chance. and I'll beat whatever it is that's out there. Because good news is you will, and we will get out of this. But let's prepare ourselves for the next go around. Thank you for listening.
Excellent, 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 Georgia. Um, I feel like I was just in school, so I have questions.
Okay.
Um, in regards to uh, the the diets that we have, and I asked this question yesterday, and blood types. Um, do you have any information on the connection between blood types and the diet and those organs? Do you have anything that shows, okay, I may be blood type O, um, I should eat this type of, or I should take this type of nutrients, or I should eat this type of food? Do you have any information on that, blood
What
types?
I can, I thought about this before I jumped on here because I'm gonna be honest with you. There are a lot of information out there. There's certain types of diets. This is how you should eat. You got nightshade vegetables you shouldn't eat. All I have to say to the average person, you need a baseline. Start somewhere. Take gluten out, take dairy out, take refined sugar out. Take that out first and put some things in there that are healthy alternatives and then see what happens. Because I'm not a doctor and I can't speak on the blood type, but I have heard about it, and people have tried to introduce it to me like, Georgia, do you eat according to your blood type? And this is what might be good for your, and I'm like, this is where I'm at right now. A lot of us too, let me touch on this real quick. A lot of people are in food deserts, right? And so this is where the problem comes in with blood type. If you say, okay, kale is for your blood type, but you live in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and statistics have shown that those are food deserts where Whole Foods isn't there, they can't get certain foods there. What do they need though from the kale? They need vitamin K, vitamin A, they need iron. Okay, well, how can we supplement that with something else?
Gotcha.
With a herb or a mineral
Okay.
or supplements.
Okay. Second question. You mentioned that the organs are connected, and I guess the effect of one thing, especially like emotion. So, for example, I saw that um, I believe he was a Taoist, and he said that emotional energy is stored in the liver.
Mm-hmm.
So, if I'm having bad emotional energy, a breakup or a divorce or a death, from your research, how does that affect the chain reaction from the liver outward, since that's one of the main processors? What effect does that have, the outside emotional energy on the liver, if it's not functioning properly?
What I've heard about illnesses that actually start in different organs is that, first of all, when your body responds to whether it's trauma from death or a breakup or losing your job, whatever it is, a loss, your body releases certain types of chemicals. Same way if you are excited, your adrenaline, you have certain um, hormones that are released, and they're called good hormones, right? The same thing is the opposite is true of, trauma and other things. So I heard that cancer is rooted in, it's in the liver, in certain organs, and it's rooted in unforgiveness, trauma, pain. So the only thing I can say, speaking on that, is that when someone tells me they're diagnosed with an illness, I start asking certain questions like, so is there somebody in your life that you have not forgiven? Are there things that you feel like you need to release? I look at their mental state more so than what they're not eating and what they're eating, because if you have the perfect diet and your spirit, your soul, your energy isn't right, it's going to affect the toxicity is of your body, because your body's releasing all these hormones, right? But you're eating foods that are supposed to help you, so everything is kind of counterproductive. Does that make sense?
Yes. Okay. I'm going to open it up for other people. Thank you for answering that. I'm gonna open it up for anyone else if they have any questions. You could unmute your mic, or you can type it in the chat box, and I'll be sure to ask Georgia for you. Does anyone have any questions? Any thoughts? Okay, let's see. We have a question here. It says Moto G. If your mic is, or if you can type in your question. So it's up to you. I'm not sure if your mic is able to be unmuted. Okay, why don't you type out your question because I don't see your information. Let me see. Maybe I can do something. Bear with me 1 second, please. Let me see if I can get them to answer their question. Okay, I don't see a notch for the mic. Okay, can you type out your question?
Iodine solution.
But Lugos, has she heard of it?
Oh, I've never heard of it, but what I will tell you, I'm allergic to iodine, and that's the strangest thing because iodine as by itself will put me into anaphylactic shock. However, the only iodine I could take is through sea vegetables. So I eat nori shell, seaweed, and sea moss every day. But can you share that liquid vitamin you talked about? The one for children is called Child Life Multivitamin and Mineral. I got it on Amazon. I put it in their water or their natural juice because I juice for them. So I'll add this to it, but sometimes I just put it to water and give it to them. And I tell them this is vitamin water. But for me, the one that I take, it's the Mega Premium Multivitamin. Now I take this because the other one, this one is like 30 something dollars for 32 ounces. The one that I normally take is $32. 32 ounces, but it's like $90. And the last time I had a credit at Amazon, I decided to take this instead. I like it. I like the flavor and my energy level. It does help me, and it had a really good rating. So it was half the price, and I still feel great. And it has Q10, selenium, iron, chromium, vitamins A through K. So I like it. I like what it does for me. And I just take a capful every morning.
Okay. We have another question here. What about fasting for health regeneration? Any information?
Oh my gosh, I love fasting. I just wish that, this was longer. I know that I talked a bit. Sometimes I just don't even know if I'm giving you guys the information that you need because there's so much information out there. But I love fasting. I do intermittent fasting for the most part every day. I don't eat food before 12 o'clock. I don't eat solids. And if I do, it's a fruit. But I drink water first. And so water up until like 12, but intermittent fasting, it's great. Now, if you can do a 3-day fast, no foods, just water or natural cold pressed juices and herbal tea, that's even better. Builds your immune system, and that's a great way to fight diseases.
What we'd like to do also, as we do more of the 30-day, because we're going to continue the 30-day redemption 1 hour series.
Yeah. There's another question, Kashab. What kind of water? I believe in drinking spring water. I don't get caught up in the whole alkaline water from the store thing. However, there's some minerals that I put in my water. I have a water distiller I drink distilled water. If I'm not able to drink, I drink the Crystal Geyser water. I love it. It works. It has a nice taste. And I believe it works best for me. I'm trying to get away from water that's in plastic bottles. And so my distiller now, what I do is I add minerals, little sachet of minerals that I purchase. I add that to my water. So offline, I can give you more information about that.
Okay. Thank you much for your time. Okay.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
The mics are unmuted now. Does anyone else have any questions or comments for Georgia?
I had another question. You said you use distilled water. Have you ever heard of like sun energizing your water instead of like adding minerals? And if so, like what have you like learned, or if you've had any type of experience with that?
I've never heard of sun energizing my water. You know what, for me, really, I'd rather be either in Costa Rica or Jamaica getting my water from a spring. That's really where I'm at right now at this point in my life. So I'm actually kind of just making do with what I have. So for me, it's like, I'm thinking about, I have some shungite stones that I'm going to start adding to my water. It detoxes, shungite stones detox the body and also add minerals, in addition to the fact that if you hear a lot about what's going on with the 5G, it also blocks the EMFs. So I'm thinking about getting some of the pyramids, but the shungite, Shungite, that's another way that you can naturally add minerals and detoxify your body and your water without necessarily, because I don't have the capability. I do, but with my lifestyle, homeschooling 2 kids, being self-employed, there's some times when I miss the mark. So I got to admit, I haven't explored all the other ways.
Yeah, I've seen like other people, they energize it with stones as well. So there's a company, they actually use like stones. So the shungite, do you know if you put it inside the water, or do you like just sit near the water, or is it safe?
Inside the water, like the ones that I purchased, they're very they're not smooth. They're the actual stones. They have the little debris, so you got to rinse them off a little bit and just put them in your water. Or you could drink out of a copper cup. Okay, I guess the mics have been muted again by Kashab.
Does anyone else have any questions for Georgia? Okay, Rel has a question. Rel, can you unmute your mic?
Yes. Hi, Georgia, and thanks so much. Real quick, you mentioned high fructose orange sugars
High fructose corn syrup.
or corn syrup.
Mhm.
Okay. So what are some examples of that? Like, I'm trying to stay away from sugars. Even when I get iced coffee, I used to, like every day in the morning, I wouldn't get sugar, but I would just put a little cream in it, a black coffee with a little cream. But the way you're talking, that cream probably has some sugar in it and it's dairy. So that's not really good for me either.
Yeah.
So it's like two questions about the corn syrup. What are some examples that would have a high count of that type of sugar in it?
Okay. High fructose corn syrup are in about probably 80% of what we consume. From the
Okay.
cereal to the salad dressing, ketchup. I know for a fact it's in Heinz ketchup. It's in Oreo cookie. So
Wow.
salad dressing, ketchup, pancake syrup, pretty much anything that has sugar in it. It's usually high fructose corn syrup. Cranberry juice, Hawaiian punch, all those drinks that you see in the supermarket and foods that you see in the supermarket, high fructose corn syrup. Candies.
Even though the cranberry juice and everything is supposed to be pretty good, if you're
Mm-mm.
saying percent, it's kind of hard to avoid that. So, is there something we should be looking at on the labels, like percentage? You know, if it's above a certain percentage, don't deal with it.
Not at all. If you see high fructose corn syrup or corn syrup at all, no,
Mhm.
you shouldn't even touch it. Like my kids are to the point where they're like, Mom, can I have it? No, it's okay, Mom. It has high fructose corn syrup. I'm going
Wow.
to send you a video, Kashab, and you could post it. It's called the Sugar, the Bitter Truth. Once you watch that video, your life will change. You won't ever look at sugar the same.
And I thank you for that because they said sugar is a real enemy as far as cancer is concerned. It just feeds it. Cancer feeds off of that sugar and things like that. So,
And your immune system, I mean, it deteriorates your immune system. And we're talking about regular sugar, not even high fructose corn syrup. That's some other evil stuff.
wow.
But regular sugar does, affect your liver, your pancreas, um, your energy, some of these
Mhm.
glands that we talked about today. Yeah,
Okay. Thank you so much.
you're welcome.
Excellent. We have one more question from Valerie. Valerie, would you mind unmuting?
Yes, hi. The question I had is, what is your perception or perspective on apple cider vinegar in water?
Okay. I was on the apple cider vinegar train for a while too, you know, because I was told that it will help my little belly fat. I'll be able to lose weight. It suppresses my appetite and it detoxes and cleanses the body. Um, Apple cider vinegar is very harsh. And when we think about health, we're thinking about low acidity. We don't want our bodies to be acidic. We want our bodies to be alkaline, right? And apple cider vinegar is very acidic. That stuff could actually, after a while, erode your esophagus. And you don't want to have esophageal cancer or cancer of the esophagus because you're constantly drinking something that is very harsh. I don't know anybody that could just take a shot, but I used to take shots and I just remember how much it would just burn my chest as it was going down. So there are other things that could give you the same benefits as apple cider vinegar that isn't harsh and that will inadvertently hurt you while it's helping you. And so if you focus on detoxing your liver, I'm telling you, some of the best things, the best side benefits like weight loss, increased metabolism, energy, restful sleep, you'll see those benefits once you detox your liver.
Excellent. Valerie, did that answer your question?
Yes, that did. Thank you very much.
Welcome. Okay, so we're going to start wrapping up. I'm going to share with you guys Georgia's information for you to reach her. But I wanted to also say, Georgia mentioned if we can have more time. And moving forward in some of our 30-day redemption, we're going to also be doing a workshop where it's a little bit more hands-on for our presenters who are looking to give more details and kind of do, we'll maybe do 5 days with George or 5 days with Jabrita or 5 days or 10 days with Rafaela, just so that you can get a more intense workshop to help you pull things together. These are very informational, and so you gather what you gather, and it gives you a chance to do some research. But we will be doing workshops for those presenters who are interested in more intensified. There'll be a small fee, of course, for those workshops, but we will take it to a more interactive and more hands-on level. But for these 30-day redemption, we'll continue to do our 1-hour sessions, probably for the next few months. I know they're talking about reopening the system May 1st, and people may go right back to their lifestyle. But I hope that people can still stay plugged in, and we'll see what we need to do as far as the time. But please stay plugged in, and also please be vigilant, because just because the system is open does not mean that you're not still susceptible to whatever is floating around out there, be it in the electromagnetic field or be it literally something that is viral. So please be careful out there. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Georgia, do you have any closing comments while I cue that up?
What I'd like to say in the future, I would love to touch on parasites in our bodies and how that affects our health also in terms of taking some of the nutrients from us and making us mineral deficient. I'd like to talk about ways that you could detox and cleanse your body. So there are quite a few things that I'd love to touch on more in depth. So guys, let this not be your last conversation about health. And I'm sure I'm going to go back and watch some of those videos of the presenters in the past. I'm sure you had some great presenters because, not one person is an expert in any one area. I'm not an expert. They're not experts, but we're all here to edify and empower and put your life in your hands, not someone else's hands. And they say a healer is someone who holds the place for you while you discover your inner healer and find a way to heal yourself. So you have to do the work. We have to do the work.
Absolutely, and I'm in full agreement with that. You have to believe and you have to do the work in order for it to work for you. So on the screen we have George's information, Alki Life. You can go to thealkilife.com, send her a message, and she will be able to get back in touch with you. Also, if you have any questions, you can always put it on our Facebook group. You could follow us on Facebook at 30 Day Redemption. And also share the information with others. Let them know about the 30-day redemption. Takes them a few seconds to sign up, and they'll receive a daily email on these presentations. And you could go to the fan page and look at all of the videos. Very, very powerful stuff. So thank you all again. Thank you, Georgia. Look forward to see you guys
Thank you for
tomorrow.
having me. My pleasure.
Wonderful. All right. Have a great day, everyone.
All right. Take care.